Hey, why should you listen to this episode of the Daron Early Wine podcast? Because here's what I think. Here's what I know. Most of us believe a lie that we have to be perfect, that it has to be perfect. And when it's not, we want to quit. And if you're right on the edge of quitting and you say, quit what, Daron? Well, you know what it is. It just popped into your mind. It's the business, it's the ministry, it's the relationship, it's my faith. I'm about to quit. I'm hanging on by a thread. This episode is for you. Do not quit. Do not believe the lie of perfection. We're going to unpack it. We're going to fill it back with a bunch of what is actually true. And I hope you walk away so inspired to keep going. Let's jump to the episode right now.
Created on purpose and for purpose.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daron Early Wine podcast. Your host, Daron Early Wine, here with you. And if you're watching on YouTube, welcome to the new studio. Work in progress. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, hopefully it sounds the same as it always does because producer Daron Cooper is the GOAT, making everything look great and sound great. But hey, welcome to our new studio. We been on quite the journey. About a year and a half ago, for about the past 5 years or so, we've had an amazing donor, amazing sponsor of Blackbird Mission, our nonprofit, who has gifted us office space. And we ran the ministry out of there as well as recorded all of our podcasts and content there. They changed offices, made available a space in their new office, but we had to build it out. And so it took us a little longer than we were expecting. It took us about a year and a half to be able to get funding, to be able to get a plan, to be able to ready to go. And so if you've been with us for the past year and a half, you know we were recording at my house. And once again, producer Coop and PJ put together an awesome setup in my home office, and we've been recording everything from there for the past year and a half. And in the past month, finally started the process to get in here, and it's a work in progress. If you could see what I'm staring at, it's not real pretty. We're putting things together, and even this whole set, we just basically threw it together in the past week, and even this morning trying to make little tweaks. And all of that actually sets us up for the point of what I want to talk to you in our first podcast here in our new studio. And it's basically this. It's not perfect. Do it anyway. It's not perfect. Do it anyway. And so I think somebody needs to hear that right now. Is there something in your life? It's a new relationship. It's something new. It's a new business. It's a new ministry. It's a new relationship. It's just your own life. And you're looking around and you're like, it's not perfect. And when we sense that, and it's true, right? This is not perfect. What we're doing, not perfect. Your life, not perfect. The new idea, not perfect. The relationship you're thinking about, not perfect. It's not perfect. Do it anyway. And I think often when we get stuck in this cage, this prison of perfection, right? It's like, it has to be perfect. I've got to be better. It's got to be the best it can possibly be. And before I start, before I go, before I risk. And if we believe that lie, nothing will ever happen. So much of this whole situation is not perfect. We got all of our stuff out of storage after a year and a half, and we couldn't find some of our lights. We couldn't find our rug. We don't know where it went. It's somewhere in this universe, right? We couldn't find so much stuff that we needed and just started piecing things together, right? Like the carpet that's on the ground, we borrowed it from somebody. It's literally carpet squares that we put together to look like a rug. Like, it's not perfect. But here's the thought, okay? I love this quote by Zig Ziglar. He says this: you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Sometimes you just need to go. So Coop and I got things to go, and he said, all right, well, it's as good as it's going to be today. Let's go push play. We're recording the podcast. And here's the deal, is it's not perfect, right? But it's going to be what it can be. It's the best it can be today. And the reality is this: if we stopped and waited until we had the studio perfect, it would be weeks, if not months. And guess what? Even with all the effort and all the planning, it still wouldn't be perfect. There would still be things we want to improve. There would still be things that we don't like the way they are. And we would be waiting and not putting out the content that we put out every single week to let you know that you're created on purpose and for a purpose, that God's for you. He's not against you, that he's near you. He's not far. And so I hope that maybe if you don't even listen to this whole podcast episode, is just this moment helps you take your next step. Daron, I'm not perfect. It's not perfect. I'm worried. Just go. Just start. Okay? We're going to unpack that a little bit in this episode. I want to just thank you once again for downloading, for being a part of the podcast. We've had significant growth over the past 3 or 4 months. If you tuned in for the Early Wine podcast, got a chance to sit down with my wife and my 3 sons, Cole, Ty, and Knox. I want to give a big shout out to the boys. I was really proud of them, their vulnerability, their authenticity, and just what they shared. We've heard from so many of you, the subscriptions to the podcast, to the social media platforms, everything has been growing like crazy. And so it's so exciting to see that happen, because it means that what we're planning and what we're praying about and what we're putting together, it's speaking to where you're at and what you're going through. And so if you're brand new to the podcast, we've got a couple hundred episodes. You can go back in the archives, listen to everything that you want to. And if you're going to come in now and just kind of join us as we're going forward, I hope each and every episode is really, really encouraging to you. So thanks so much for downloading. If you haven't, hit the subscribe button on whatever channel, whatever platform you're using, and allow us to just continue to grow the impact of the podcast. And if you're brand new to it, I also want you to know you can always reach out to me. You can email me, Daron, D-A-R-O-N, Daron at DaronEarlyWine.com. Would love to be able to kind of serve as a guide, if I can, to help you become who you were born to be and take those steps. So don't think this always just needs to be a monologue. I don't like it to be that way. I love it to be a conversation. So please reach out to me. Let me know what you're going through and how we can help you. So perfection, let's talk about it for a minute. First point, if you need 3 points in this podcast, is going to be this: is perfect is a lie. Perfect is a lie, but man, it's a lie that we love. And we love it to beat ourselves up, to keep ourselves from taking great risks, to keep ourselves from becoming who God's created us to be, because we think his meter, his judging scale is perfect, and he's not happy with us. He's not pleased with it if it's not perfect, if we're not perfect, if the thing we're going to think about is not perfect. And I find anytime I'm going to take a risk, and in the past year or so, we've taken quite a few risks. We launched a new company called Rogue Collective. Talked to you guys about that on the podcast. And right before we were about ready to launch that, I don't know how your brain works, but most of the time when I'm about to take some risk, when I'm about to start something new, I am not overwhelmed by amazing self-confidence. I'm not overwhelmed by how good I know I'm going to do. I'm not overwhelmed by everything that I know. I'm being absolutely bombarded by everything I'm not, everything I don't know, everything that could happen. It's a absolute avalanche of negativity. And we've had to battle through it. I've had to battle through that. And God's been super faithful in that process. And what we've learned, and I know that I've learned in powerful ways over the past year and a half, is it's not perfect. Do it anyway. Because perfect is a lie. And it will keep us paralyzed if we're waiting for that to show up. And I found I love finding different translations and paraphrases of the Bible just to keep things fresh. And I found this scripture in the Living Bible paraphrase, and it's Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 4. And check out this truth from God's word. It says this: if you wait for perfect conditions, you'll never get anything done. Right from the word of God, Ecclesiastes 11:4. If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll never get anything done. And perfect is a lie. And if you're waiting for things to be perfect before you start anything, you will never get anything done. And I think a part of our obsession with perfection and our fear comes around another really scary word, which is failure. And I think we equate with imperfect with failure. If I'm not perfect, I'm a failure. If it's not perfect, it's a failure. And that's just a lie. I've been learning a lot from a new distant mentor of mine, Jamie Winship. Will probably hear me talk about a lot of his stuff over the next, decade, maybe the rest of my life. And one of the things that Jamie's helped me embrace is that within my worldview of God's kingdom and my worldview of my own life, I have to embrace this, is failure is a constant. And failure is just another great word for growth. You think about anything in your life that you've learned to do, from walking to riding a bike to speaking whatever language you speak to anything. What's the process of growth in that? Failure. You fail, you learn. You fail, you learn. You fail, you learn. And we have to begin to change our paradigm. We have to begin to change our worldview to realize that when I'm failing, I'm not a failure. When I'm failing, I'm growing. It's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for change. It's an opportunity to become who you were born to be. But if you hold yourself to the standard that perfection is what must happen, you will quit. Failure is not final. Failure is not proof that you have something, inherently completely broken and unredeemable about you. You're just embracing growth. And what I want you to hear is this, is the fuel for growth is grace. The fuel, right, to move through failure to growth to the next level is grace. God's grace, his unearned, his undeserved favor, presence, love, forgiveness, strength, wisdom, all of the things that we receive from God, he's in that process. And that's an unpacking of what I say to you every single week on the podcast, which is this, right? God is for you. He's not against you. He's for you in your failure. He's for you in the process. He's for you in your imperfection because he knows you, right? He is perfect, and he's leading us in the transformation of our life. But if you're waiting to be perfect, if you're waiting for it to be perfect before you start, you won't. And you've got to start if you're going to move into the greatness that God has for you. So failure's a lie, or perfection is a lie. Second thought is this, is purpose is a process. I like this idea here. Harry Truman says this cool quote, imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. And when we look at this idea of moving into the purpose that God created us for, I want you to understand that stepping into your purpose is a process, and it is an imperfect one at best. Building on that idea of failure is growth. Here's something that I found. As I've stepped into walking into what I believe is God's purpose for my life over the past a full 4 decades, what I've discovered is that process of understanding my imperfection and getting very specific on where my unique weaknesses are, where my unique areas of greatest growth are. It's in that space that I've been able to actually live one of my favorite scriptures, which is 1 John 4:16. It says this, and so we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. And that first part for me has been a foundation for me in stepping into purpose. And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. To know and to rely, to me, that's the combination of knowledge and experience. It's how do I truly know something if I'm not experiencing it? And as I experience it, how do I learn to rely on it? How do I learn to trust it? How do I learn to stay within it? Right? How is it the anchor for me? Not because I intellectually agree with it. Yes, God is love, and I check the box. I know how to answer that on the multiple choice quiz of life. I know it because I'm on a process towards this purpose, an imperfect process where step by step, failure by failure, growth by growth, here's what I'm learning to do. I'm learning to know and to rely on the love of God. And the interesting thing in this is if you're holding yourself to the standard of perfection before you'll move forward, before you'll trust more, before you'll forgive yourself, maybe even before you forgive others, the interesting thing is you are blocking yourself, hindering yourself from really being able to experience the love of God, to rely on it. And you do that through experience, through failure. As you experience forgiveness, as you experience redemption, as you experience resurrection of dreams and purpose, it's a process. So if you're at a place right now where you don't think you've made the perfect progress you wanted to make, or you thought you should have been further along than you are, and you're beating yourself up and you're starting to get discouraged and you're thinking about dropping out of whatever it is, dropping out of your faith, dropping out of college, dropping out of a relationship, dropping out of anything, you're about to quit. Listen, perfection is a lie, right? Failure is growth, and your purpose is a process. You're in process. I was thinking about this agriculturally. I'm not a big ag guy, but I do live in the Midwest. And so I drive around a lot of agricultural fields from time to time. Although about every weekend, another cornfield near my house becomes a subdivision, which, hey, there's progress there too. But it's the end of September, I think. Or is it? No, it's October 1st. We're recording this on October 1st. And it's harvest season. And so as I'm driving around, I'm seeing a lot of combines and fields, right, harvesting the crops, corn, soybeans, a lot of different things that grow here in the Midwest. And the reflection I had on it is these farmers are out and they are reaping, right, the rewards of their purpose this month. But the reality is they didn't plant those crops yesterday, right? Back in probably, I think it's May is when they start planting. Back in May, right, they trusted the process. And guess what? They didn't have a perfect farming season, right? Some weeks they got too much rain. Some weeks they got not enough rain. They probably had issues with insects and whatever happens in crops, all the things they have to do to get a healthy harvest. They don't have perfect farming seasons, but here's the deal. They trusted the process, right? They planted it in May. They harvested it in October, and they reap the rewards. And so what I'm encouraging, if you're in a place where you need to embrace this idea that my purpose is a process, is begin asking God, like, what season am I in right now? In your life and your steps towards the purpose that God has for you, whether it's in your work or it's in your relationships or it's at play, you may be in different seasons, and they may not follow the agricultural year, right? I mean, yeah, they may be harvesting corn in your neck of the woods or cotton or whatever they grow there, but God may have you in a planting season, right? God may have you in a growing season where, listen, you planted some seeds 3 or 4 months ago and you're not seeing the results, and you're saying, oh, this is just proof that I'm a failure and I'm not perfect. No, you're growing, you're establishing roots, and God has you in a growing season. Maybe God has you in a planting season, or maybe you are experiencing right now a season of harvest and you're seeing some of the progress and you're building on that. I just want to encourage you to not give up, but to begin to ask God, what do you want me to know about the season I'm in? I'm not looking for perfection here. I'm looking for the process of my purpose moving forward. Okay, I hope that's encouraging to you. Last thing I want to hit you with this is process and progress are profound. Today's podcast brought to you by the letter P, if you hadn't noticed. And another cool quote here. Seth Godin says this: waiting for perfect is never as smart as making progress, right? Progress is profound. And first, I want to hit you with the encouraging thought of this. How cool is it that you can make progress? Right? Like, how cool is it that you're not just stuck in the concrete of just eternity of your purpose, of your progression, of your character, of your relationships, of you seeking after the dreams that God's put in your life? You can change. You are in the process of being formed, reformed, transformed by God's presence and his guidance in your life. Like, how cool is that? You can change. Like we could even get into now, we're not, because I didn't do a lot of study on it to give you all the terms, but I've been blown away by some of the study I'm doing on like the neuroplasticity of your mind, that you can literally change the pathways of your mind. Like your mind is constantly in a process of iteration, of becoming something new. Biblically, we know that where Paul tells us that we need to be transformed in Romans 12 by the renewing of our mind. You are in process, and that is profound. So if you're in a place right now where you're like, I don't love the place I'm in, here's the cool part. You're not going to be there long as you embrace the process of progress and reject the lie of perfection. We're all in that process, right? And I love that, okay? So another thing that I love as we talk about purpose and progress is how awesome is it that you can change and you can grow? But then I love this too, is how awesome is it that God actually has ideas he wants to let us borrow? That you're not making this up. This is not all left to your own initiation. I was just talking to a buddy yesterday who's had this amazing vision for a company, for a ministry. It's so beautiful. And I was just talking to him yesterday about all these things that are beginning to happen in imperfect ways around his life, where he is seeing that this vision and idea that he believes that God gave him years ago, he's beginning to see the universe conspire in his favor. He's beginning to realize this. Well, he's always realized this, but to a greater degree, he's already figuring out, once again, God has created me on purpose and for a purpose. God is for me. He's not against me. He's actually giving me ideas that are on his heart and his mind, and he's beginning to work in my favor for his purposes, and I'm seeing progress. That's really encouraging news, especially if you tuned in today because you're like, man, I hope Daron has something good in this podcast because I'm about to freaking quit. All I can see is the long list of all the ways I keep screwing up. And dude, I get it. I'm there. I've been there. I'll be there again. And this is where faith comes in. Not blind faith, not just like, oh, it's like, no, looking around and seeing the progress and saying, okay, looks like God's standard for me isn't perfection. Looks like he's actually in his grace walking me through failure. Looks like I am actually making progress. Not perfect, but I am making progress. And it is stoking my faith that even when I can, because it's like what I can see is the long list of failures, the long list of imperfections. And in the list of me making progress, it doesn't seem quite as impressive. It doesn't seem quite as as lengthy, probably because you're way too hard on yourself, right? We all are. But when you start to look and you say, yeah, you know what, I can see it. It's incremental. It's slow. It's not perfect, but it is progress. And when we can stay dedicated to the purposes of God, the presence of God in our life, right? You're going to look back in 6 weeks, in 6 months, in 6 years and go, oh my gosh, look what God has been doing. Man, it sure as heck isn't perfect. But I'm so glad I didn't quit. So last encouragement is this. So what do you do now? Well, you go back to the first words of Jesus' Great Commission right before he ascended into heaven. And he said this, right? All authority has been given to me, right? Therefore, go, start, begin, now, today, in the imperfection, because his presence is with us. His grace brings us through our failure. And the progress that he brings in our life is profound and it's powerful. So don't quit. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Keep going. Keep making progress. Keep failing. Keep getting back up. Keep growing. And you're going to see us do that here at the podcast in the studio. We're going to record some episodes today. We'll keep tweaking. We'll keep coming along. And guess what? My hope is like in 6 months, maybe you'll be proud of us, right? We're going to work on the studio here. We want to have like 3 or different sets that we can use. One set for conversations with 3 or 4 people. One set for something like this. Another set for some idea we haven't even come up with yet. And you're going to get to see the progress we make in the studio. And guess what? When we make that progress and we have 2 or 3 sets in here, it still won't be perfect. But we'll be taking profound steps into the purpose that God's given us because we are going, we are doing, we are starting. Therefore, my friend, go, start, make progress. Don't give up. I'm so glad you downloaded this episode. I feel so honored to be a part of this podcast, to be able to share these ideas with you, to hear from you and the progress you're making. It encourages me so much. So thanks for listening to this episode. Please share it with a friend you think that might be about to quit. Say, hey, listen, don't quit. Don't buy into the lie of perfection. I got something that might encourage you. Send them the podcast and let us know. Email me, Daron@DaronReallyWine.com. Would love to hear from you. And I also want to take a minute before we pop off today, and I want to thank you, the many people that partner with us monthly financially. Everything we do with the Daron Real Wine podcast is made available for free all over the world. So many of the resources that we create with Blackbird Mission, they are made possible because there are people who partner with us monthly. Sometimes people partner with us with one-time gifts, and everything we do with that is run under Blackbird Mission, which is our nonprofit. And if God has blessed you with the ability to give in that way, or you've been listening to the podcast and it's brought great value to your life, I'd like to ask you to pray about joining us as a monthly partner to help us expand the mission, expand the message around the world. You can do so at blackbirdmission.com/give. And just want to put that out there and let you know that is an opportunity to partner with us. And I want to thank those that partner with us every single month and allow us to continue to say yes to Jesus in all the adventures he invites us into. So God bless you. Thank you. I appreciate you. We'll talk to you next time here on the Daron Real Wine podcast. Until that time, remember, God's for you, not against you. He is near you, not far away, and he's created you on purpose and for a purpose. Talk to you next time on the Daron Real Wine podcast.